Welcome back. It's exactly 8:37 a.m. We are now crossing over to the Western Cape, and we'll be talking with former Dean of the Cathedral, and that, of course, is you, Reverend Michael Weeder. We are looking at the issue around as apartheid Israel's war on Gaza enters a second year, weekly vigils at St. George's Cathedral in Cape Town continues calling for peace. A very good morning to you. Welcome.
Hi, good morning. Salam alaikum to your listeners.
Wa alaikum salam. Lovely to have you here. And it must warm your heart knowing that people of all faiths right across the color spectrum as well here in South Africa are showing their ongoing support for the horrors being perpetrated on the Palestinian people by congregating at obviously the cathedral and St. George's Cathedral. And that cathedral is truly a mark or a center of just and showing people's humanity and showing that people do believe in peace and harmony. And it's a hub for activism against apartheid of any form.
Yeah, that is so, Julie. It allows, because also its centrality, it's right next to both the provincial and the national parliament. It's right on the tourist, a lot of tourists amble past there. So it is strategically convenient for anybody who wishes to express solidarity with our siblings in Palestine. It creates that a very gracious space to be part of on the steps of history, so to speak.
And when we talk about this iconic landmark, I think what comes to mind immediately is our struggle stalwarts, including the late Desmond Tutu, Reverend Desmond Tutu, Nelson Mandela, and such giants of anti-apartheid activists. And you yourself, Reverend Michael Weeder, was an activist. How does this all make you feel?
I think activism is an ongoing thing. In our tradition, we talk about discipleship. You follow the words of Yeshua, of Jesus, and who says you must love your neighbor as you love yourself. And so that is often a given that we forget that love of self is so important. And often now, with the events happening in Palestine, where we are witnesses in so many ways to the horror of how people are slowly and cruelly being murdered, sometimes in their bedrooms. Their bedrooms have become the tomb for many significantly in their thousands of people. And so one does begin almost to feel less that you are watching and not doing anything. And the the call to serve has also brought home to the fact that we are more than just Christian, we are more than Muslim or Jew, but we are part of a global humanity. And I think what many people still fail to realize, because they tend to look at the horror of Gaza through an understanding of a very vicious God that will, in the words of BBB, instructing his people to smash the heads of the children of your enemy. What kind of God can anybody worship? Because that's not the God of love. And I think what the Wednesday afternoon, the lunchtime vigil, enables us to raise our voice in anger and to create a growing force. A lot of things that has been said is achieved by small numbers of people. We saw that in Israel, where there's a peace movement that is slowly growing, and then sometimes is devastated by the way the majority of Israelis support the murderous ways of Netanyahu.
Coincidentally, Reverend, I made a similar comment on my show a little while ago. I question the humanity and the conscience of apartheid Israel. And
mm,
I question the fact that if you are killing innocent babies and children in the name of God,
mm,
then we're
mm,
not worshiping the same God,
mm,
because
mm.
our God, Allah, as we refer to him,
Yeah.
says to us that if you kill one person, never mind the circumstances, if you've taken one life, it
Mm,
is as if you've wiped out all of humanity. And that is how loving God is. That is how loving Allah is, that we really view life um, very, very sacredly. So you're right in having questioned that, because I've questioned it as well. Who is this God that you are worshiping that instructs you supposedly to take life in this manner, to be so brutal, to be so inhumane? And what is it doing to, I've questioned this as well, and perhaps you can respond to me, those young soldiers, probably aged between 16
mm,
and not older than 22. What is
mm.
what is their future going to be like? Is this carnage not going to come back and haunt them
Yeah.
and destroy their peace of mind and serenity? And when they look upon their own babies and children, what is going to come to their minds?
Mm. I remember as a child, maybe 5 or 7, I'm standing in the kitchen in Alstersdorf. My mom is listening to the news, and then occasionally I would see her wipe away a tear, and I would ask her on one occasion, um, "Mom, do you know the people?" And she smiled, held my hand, and she said, "No, but God does." And I think that sense of intimacy is very important for us to hold on to. That if 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 our God allows us to perform and respond and relate in a way that is unkind, that is without compassion, then it takes us to what Jesus says about Satan. He says Satan is the father of lies, the deceiver. And I think that is when also you make God in your own image. It's an idolatry where God becomes, looks like you, God speaks your language, and God is of your culture, God is the enemy of your enemy. And it's important for us to draw a line in the sand that this is deception, it is evil. But evil also has its own particular genius and is able to create synergy between people's self interest. It's greed driven. Capital plays a very strong role in this. When they talk about in the geopolitical imagination of Zionists, they say, from the Euphrates to the sea.
Mm,
So it's Iran, Iraq. It's the geopolitical agenda is to incorporate as much of the world that is now populated by the citizens of what we could call the Arab world, and the wealth that it is deposited there. The beauty, if you see, I've never been to Gaza, but I've seen pre the carnage of today how beautiful it is. It's more beautiful than many parts of Cape Town. It's really it's an oasis of peace in a given time. But today it is not that. It's claimed as part of the promised Holy Land. They make they make claims in the name of Yahweh, in the name of a God whom they don't even believe in. A lot of them are very secular the Zionistic quest is often contested by more pious Hasidic Jews. But coming to this point of the Holy Land, in our culture, in our tradition as Africans, and indigenous people globally can never and will never ultimately say the land belongs to us. No, we say we belong to the land. So you have I don't know if if it's a practice out in other parts of the country, but I know here in Cape Town, when a Muslim child is born, the afterbirth is taken and is reburied in the ground,
Mhm.
emphasizing the sacred nature of soil, of the land, and of creation. The creation is not to be owned, it is to be shared and lived upon in a very peaceful way. And I think that is the message that we must contest, that we are all chosen. We are chosen to love. We are chosen to be, Jesus says, blessed are the peacemakers. And there is it's underlined by what follows. Blessed are the peacemakers because they shall be called children of God. So if you're not making peace, then you are placing yourself on the other side of the battlefield for justice and for peace.
Reverend, beautifully said. We've got to wrap up now. My final question regarding St. George's Cathedral in Cape Town may continue being an iconic landmark. You and the group of people have been meeting there for more than 50 weeks, 50 weeks. You've been consistent no matter the rain or the weather or the elements to show your solidarity for the people of Palestine. How much longer are you going to continue this?
As long as it takes, because I must also say that we men are but few in number on the steps. So,
Mm.
there is a tendency to celebrate clerical patriarchy because of Spratsumoy and al and dinge, but it is the women that hold us together, that hold us accountable, and that come with very creative plans and ways of energizing us and drawing in a lot of more young people also joining us beyond our old body status that we have on the steps of our beloved cathedral.
And may you continue to grow from strength to strength. Thank you indeed for your
Yeah,
insights this morning. Lovely talking with you. God bless.
alhamdulillah. Thank you.
It is exactly 8:49. Standing by to talk with us in a minute or two is a political analyst, and that, of course, is Levi Ndau. Please stay with us.